So there have been several videos of ICE smashing car windows, and this has raised serious concerns. Now, when can ICE initiate a car stop? Under the Fourth Amendment, cars are less protected spaces against searches and seizures than homes. So an officer may not enter a home without a judicial warrant, a warrant signed by a judge, unless there are exigent circumstances or they have consent, right? But ICE officers are only required to have reasonable suspicion of an immigration violation in order to initiate a car stop. Take a look at Section 287 of the Immigration and Nationality Act. It authorizes ICE officers to interrogate and arrest non-citizens for suspected immigration violations. ICE officers can briefly detain individuals for questioning. That is, they can conduct Terry stops if the officer has a reasonable suspicion based on specific articulable facts that the person that's being questioned is or is attempting to be engaged in an offense against the United States or is in the United States illegally. In other words, in order to initiate a car stop, an ICE officer must have a particularized basis to suspect a federal crime or an immigration violation. And this should not only be based on your race or your ethnicity. Take a look at the case of Terry versus Ohio. An officer cannot act on a mere inarticulable hunch or gut feeling or vibe, okay? So a judicial warrant is not required for car stops, so long as the officer has reasonable suspicion of federal crime or an immigration violation. It is sufficient for an ICE officer to stop a car. The car stop is justified by reasonable suspicion, then ICE is permitted to request the driver's identity. And here is the kicker. ICE can actually order occupants to remain inside or step out of a vehicle for officer safety. Now, the courts may have a different analysis where there's ICE smashing a car to get occupants out if the driver's hands were in plain view and there was no cause for officer to fear safety. Again, if the passenger's hands were also in plain view, there was no cause for alarm, then the courts may have a different analysis of the situation, okay? So generally, the fact that ICE can stop a car does not mean that they have the right to search the car. Again, remember, even during car stops by ICE, or have the right to remain silent, especially with regards to your name and place of birth. There's a lot that has changed even with this new alien registration law. We'll be discussing more of the legalities of these issues in posts coming up. This is a really nuanced and complex discussion, and so stay tuned and follow for more. I'll see you soon. Bye.